Hi, we're talking about fascia today, so I'd like you to take a seat and get comfortable. We are going to use things like blocks and bands and or light weights if you don't have or want to use the band. Just come to a seat at the front edge of your sits bones. Remember, those are those hard bones that we sit on. Just roll the shoulders up, back and down 2 or 3 times. We're going to work on the fascia today. Just give yourself a big hug. Take a moment there. Breathe in and breathe out. Uncross the arms, squeeze the elbows to the back. Recross the arms in front, breathe in and breathe out. Lower the arms, let the palms rest face up on the thighs. Lower your eyelids down. Let's begin. Breathe in. What we're going to work on today is equanimity, that the physical parts of the body really are the psychological parts of the body, that we are not a mass of different things. It is all one. And the fascia is a very good example of that because it really helps house the nervous system. Breathe in. Now slowly breathe out. Remind yourself to keep showing up fully, not in every pose. Some poses will modify, and I encourage you to go slowly and notice the effects. We're going to try to move the fascia, compress, and then release. We're not going to do specialized yoga. You already know these moves. Just breathe in. Slowly breathe out. Feel something light up from within. Just breathe in. As you slowly breathe out, feel something light up. Three slow breaths here. Welcome yourself. Welcome to the mat.
Hi.
I see you. We're doing good here. We're just getting started. I'm recording this session just in case somebody misses today's practice. So from here, open your eyes. Let's inhale and stretch the arms. I'm going to say up overhead. Maybe your arms don't go there. Exhale, lean to one side. Bring one hand to the mat. Now, what I want you to practice on here is press the opposite hip down as this side waist rib section goes up. So your arm is not the thing that's doing this. Your arm could be all the way up next to your ear. Your arm could be out of the side. It could still be on the leg. It's pushing down with this hand that's on the floor to open up this sideways. It's probably easier to get your arm up and out of the way so you can see and feel that. Now let's open that arm and the chest out to the back and then close it. So from this side hip that's on the floor, that's on this arm, to that shoulder, you're opening and closing. So again, your arm doesn't have to be flying all the way back and then diving all the way under, but it could. Do that 3. Notice what that's doing in the trapezius. 2. You're consciously and deliberately showing up for yourself again and again when you're ready now. Inhale, come up. Again, arms might go overhead, maybe they don't. Exhale over to the other side. Now, anytime you begin to land, scoop the abdominals into the spine. Same thing. As this arm is pushing down, the opposite side hip is moving down, effectively stretching the side waist. Maybe the arm reaches up overhead and that helps you do that. Or maybe you have compression around your shoulder blade and neck. Maybe somebody did some aggressive cupping on your back over the weekend. Now, open the chest up to the back. So it's the diagonal from shoulder to opposite hip that gets wider and then closes. So in traditional fascia, that's the connective tissue. It's a thin layer of kind of a gooey, but it's not just gooey. It has strands of collagen. We know what collagen is. It's what keeps our face looking together, not falling apart. Protein. Do two more. We're not just holding those fascial webs open. Now that would be a very effective way of creating space. Oh my gosh. And then inhale all the way up. Exhale, extend back. I really feel my skin where I had that aggressive cupping there. It's like having a scab. Inhale, come up. Exhale to forward fold. You'll notice that my forward fold is not nose to the floor. I don't want to go there yet. That's enough. Each pose, you'll remember, is an opportunity to practice compassion, to move with equanimity. So even though we might be stretching, let's say this stretches the low back or the hips, notice what you're doing with your neck and your head, your shoulders and your hands. You are the owner of your actions. You know, our body, there's a lot of factors that make a body what it is, but you are the owner of your decisions. Let's do 3 slow breaths here. Disentangling what you think you should be doing so that you can accept, remember, accept with kindness. I know you're kind to other people. 1 more slow breath. Accept with kindness what is or is not happening here. And then slowly roll all the way up. Let's come off the blanket. If you're on a blanket, I'm going to turn sideways so that I'm on lengthwise on my mat, moving the stuff out from behind, and then practice. I'm going to practice with my knees bent and holding the back of the thighs, rolling a little bit back, and then rolling back up. So we're rolling down sort of from the tailbone through the sacrum, through the lumbar spine, but then we're rolling up from the head, the neck, the shoulder blade area, and then into the lumbar spine. Now, of course, we're not really doing that. That's just where our consciousness is going. And how does the mind interact with let's call it the physical body, the muscles in particular? Energy from the brain goes through what we call the nervous system, which are like little strands of nerves and things. But those nerves are embedded in the fascial webbing that is interwoven and interconnected to all of the elastic parts of the body. So even cartilage, which a lot of times we think, well, I don't even have any cartilage left. Even more reason to retrain the muscles. The muscles are what we can consciously move. Do this 3 or 4 more times. What we're trying to do is engage deep abdominal muscles. And muscles have a really close relationship with the fascial webbing, the marbling, if I could use that word, that runs around and through the muscles. Now roll all the way down to the floor. Kick one leg up. This is called hand to big toe. So the same leg, the same hand, the same toe. All right, I can't reach, so I'm going to use a strap and put the strap on my foot. And then same hand, same toe. If you can reach 2, what they call peace fingers around the toe or the first 2 toes and straighten. Stretch the other leg out. Take a moment. There's so many fascial webs around the hips and deep in the abdominal bowl. And this fascial web houses your true self. It's what we protect. It's where we get energy. It's how we transform. Now, holding on with the same hand, same foot, take the leg out. Now I'm going to use my elbow as a kickstand so I don't have to go far. In fact, I'm going to use my hand on the outer knee. So I don't have to go so far. No matter what, protect those knees. Straighter knees are healthier knees. They're not required to stretch cartilage you might not have, ligaments that might be worn or inflamed. So everyday living causes inflammation, and those tissues are always sending out really what we consider pain pressure. And as a result, the interweb of fascia holds tight, and we have no conscious control over that. We can't change that. 3 long breaths. If we go deep, so send your energy, your consciousness, the nerves along the fascial webs deep into the pelvic bowl, into the hip socket. Now bring the leg a little bit closer to center, but then bend the knee and pull the knee so that it's kind of down underneath your armpit, I guess. So this is a half happy baby. By all means, if your hand can reach the foot and you want to pull back, then do that. Exhale. Consciously and deliberately show up for yourself. It's like the best thing you can do or gift to yourself is your own presence. Like, for example, I am here to set a boundary between me and someone else who is violating a boundary, doing something I don't care for. And my body's going to tell me about that boundary violation. One more slow breath. And then we'll slowly move to the other leg. This is called hand to big toe. Hasta Pada Gustasana. Hasta, hand, Pada, foot, Gusta, something strong, asana pose. I'm going to do this one. The hip flexor of this other leg, we're going to stretch a bit into the quad and the hip flexor, really the quad of the legs at the end here. Let's start here. The boundary most often violated for me is me expecting me to always do better. And how I know that's happening is my trapezius, my neck shoulder muscles tense up. Because my body's getting ready to do what my mind is demanding. So maybe my mind is saying, do this Hasta Pada Gustasana. Do it. So read the body. People say, read the room, right? Read the body. Create the shape with the muscles. And hopefully those fascial webs will slowly reintegrate, removing the scar tissue, removing the knots and the tightnesses. That's maybe beyond a general yoga practice. That takes a little bit more force. We'll try a little. Breathe the shape, the layers of muscle. Muscles layer on each other. 2. So then bend the knee, maybe let go of it a little. So I don't know, I can't really hold on to my foot as well. So I'm going to use the strap. So I can pull the knee sort of into its own armpit. Most important of all here, though, is to keep the knee what we call stacked. So the femur is a really big bone, and the end of it is a really big knob. But the tibia and fibula, they're not big. They're really the shin calf. They're not big. So when you twist the knee out, there's a big twisting that can happen in those ligaments. Don't do that. Ujjayi. We're increasing the hydration of the tissue. I need extra hydration today. That increases blood flow. And if we work out those knots, we not only move better, but we actually increase the potential for metabolism. Metabolism is a magic word for us. It's the ability to burn calories, which not only burns fat, but it increases the likelihood of every organ of your body getting what it needs. For example, your skin. It needs oxygen. It needs to get slough off those worn out cells. 2 slow breaths. Practice breathing equally in and out. And then release. Whoa. I'm going to do a bridge pose. Maybe you want to do the stretch wall to wall pose. So find the pose that stretches the front of your leg and hips. Maybe it's bridge for you. Maybe it's stretch wall to wall. Take 3 breaths. Equanimity in yoga is upeka, to balance out your heart, the things you want, and your mind, the things you're thinking. And 1. Let's come down, bend the knees, stretch the arms up somewhat overhead, and then sway the knees side to side. The Taoists say it a different way. They say, practice during the thousands of joys and sorrows of life. Meaning that there's ups and downs. There's always ups and downs. Nobody gets an easy ride. And you just practice this equanimity, this mind staying steady, reliable, knowing. Exhale. Do brace the abdominals. Remember, we're trying to get deep. This fascial web goes from right under the epidermis, the skin, all the way, all the way through the entire body, all the way to the opposite side. Through every organ, through every muscle, around all the joints, for sure. 3. And that fascia can be super tight and bound, or it can be quite gelatinous. It's usually both at the same time. It's made up of a mix of stuff. Make your way up into child's pose. Inhale, exhale, inhale. When you exhale, come to your forearms. So put the forearms on the floor, push a little bit forward until, maybe even take a step forward with your forearms until you feel your abdominals and your chest and your shoulders contract. Let's come all the way down to the belly. Bend the knees and swing the feet side to side. Consciously and deliberately. So let your head relax, let your shoulders relax. For a moment, I want you to be in that most relaxed state. Square this up. 3, consciously, deliberately showing up again and again. So not just doing anything, paying attention to what is. From here, push up and back in your child's pose. When you get there, inhale. When you exhale, drive your hand bones into the floor. So weave the muscles. This, you know how important this is to me. Because I was over kind of stretching and then ignoring the muscles around my shoulder blade. They never really lift heavy weights with my arms. When I do it, it's always very isolated and supported. So weave the muscles and all of the tendons around the shoulder blade. So you're like pulling the arm bone, you're hardening that upper back. Now, when you exhale, come up to hands and knees and curl into cat. Remember, that's with the top of the feet pushing down and the center of your back rising up and the edges of your back wrapping around and under the body. After 2. And then when you're ready, move into cow. So cow is the absolute opposite of that. The center of the body is moving down and the edges of the body are moving up. Turn the toes under and then pressing the finger bones down, rise up to downward dog. All right, if your shoulders need to be protected, then probably leave out the downward dog or walk the feet a little further forward and out so that you have more of your body weight on your legs than your arms. 2, let the head hang down. Same thing, keep the arm shoulder thing, unit, squeezing onto the back. Then do walk forward to forward fold. Do bend the knees generously and soften the upper body. 3, I am the owner of my actions. So what I'm choosing to do here. 2. So grabbing the band, if you want to use a stretchy band or small weights, roll all the way up. If you have the band, we're going to take it a little bit wider than, let's call it hip width. And all we're going to do is lift the arms up and back down. You could do this with, the dumbbells, lifting up and down. It's going to work a slightly different thing, but it's all very good. So for a moment, just practice perfect posture, shoulder blades pulling in and down. Then leave the arms up overhead. Inhale, so the arm bones are spun open, that is elbows more to the front. Exhale, lean side. Inhale, center. Now notice that when you're leaning, you're pulling the abdominals in and your abs, your deep abdominal corset, right, is holding and conducting the movements. So even though the arm shoulder unit is being squeezed onto the back, it's the waist muscles that are creating all this movement. 3, 2, and 1. Take the arms down. We're going to put one hand on the hip. Now, if you have weights, you're going to do the same exact thing. And then if you have the band, make it a little bit tight. So one thumb is up. You're holding this on the hip. This isn't going to move. You're going to lift the arm up and out and down. So sort of like you're taking, I don't know, a sword and lifting it up overhead and putting it back down. If you have the band, if you don't have the band, you have the weights. If you don't have that, that's okay too. What's important in this movement is that your shoulder blade is staying plugged down and onto the back, not letting that shoulder blade go winging out. So the purpose of this is not to get this band to stretch. Who cares? Don't care. Not to lift that weight. Nobody cares. The purpose of this is to train the arm, shoulder blade to move while maintaining a healthy, not a tight, but healthy movement pattern. Do 3, 2. This is all about focusing on the shoulder blade. And 1. I'm going to take this elbow in tight. I'm going to choke up on this and still hold back here. And then this arm will go out to the side and back. Out to the side. Now the shoulder blade will go kind of twist with the arm, but not a lot. And this shouldn't be hard to do. If you've got that weight, you're beginning to feel this, I think, in the shoulder and the bicep from holding this so long. Each pose, each movement is an opportunity to practice compassion. Maybe it's time to put the weights down. Maybe it's time to put the band down. Noticing the neck and the shoulder and making sure the crown of the head is perfectly kind of balanced. Remember that upeka, that perfect balance. 3, 2, and 1. Let's take a stretch here. Take the legs out wide. Maybe bring the band behind the back and hold. Thumbs out. And then come to a forward fold. Maybe letting the band and the arms flop overhead, or maybe that's way too much of a stretch for you today. I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to kind of put the band down and not do all that with the shoulders. To breathe, just breathe. To breathe, just breathe. And we're practicing during the 1,000 joys and sorrows of life. So no one practice is perfect or even good or even bad. Your practice is this learning to sail, learning to go up and down and accept, success and failure, all those words that are judgmental, like blame and fame and pleasure and pain, all those judgmental things. Just breathe, breathe, just breathe. Ride the waves of compassion. Three, 2, and 1. I'm going to walk my feet in, grab the band, and then roll up, just always protecting the spine. So again, grabbing that band or the weights, we're going to do the same thing we did before, where we have the band down, shoulder blades plugged in and down, reach up and down. Again, the whole point of this is to learn how to keep the shoulder blades on the back. So we're training conscious muscles, the muscles sometimes around the back of us, not so conscious because we don't know what they look like, to squeeze the core muscles in. Then from the top, I'm going to bring this down and back behind my head, squeeze down. You could do it in front of your face. That's the same thing. But think about squeezing. In fact, I'll do that. Squeeze the shoulder blade points together. Together. Yeah, I like the front better. Together. And widen the tops of the shoulder blades out. So kind of like you're doing like out. Squeeze out. That's what it feels like at the arms. About 4 more. Keep the spine long. So this doesn't give you permission to like lean all the way back. Don't do that. And then from there, we're going to bring one hand, the other one, down to the hip. Remember this one? The other thumb up and take the arm up and out like you're drawing a sword. with one goal only, and that is to keep the shoulder blade plugged in and onto the back, so that it's always a firm support. Our hips are pretty thick. They have lots of other connective tissue, lots of cartilage, lots of ligaments, other capsules, but our shoulders not so strong. Remember, you can do this with a weight, 3 or 4 pound weight. I wouldn't go much higher than 5 doing this because this is a long lever to move. Breathe. Keep bracing the sides of the ribs. Remember, this is our firm kind of foundation. And then maybe go up a little bit with this other hand, this elbow into the side waist, and then take the arm out and then back to center. Out. Keep the heads of the arm bones open and kind of turned out. Keep the knees slightly soft so that the muscles, whatever connective cartilage you have there, is being held in place by muscle. We're not leaning into the bone, not letting the bones just do all the work. We've got 6 more of these. Keep spinning the heads of the arm bones out and open. Keep sucking the shoulder blades onto the back. 3. Good, good, good. Let's hold on to this band. We're going to hold on to the band, come to the front edge of the mat. We worked on this last week. I'm just holding the band. We're not going to do anything with it very much yet. Is take one leg, step all the way back, spin it open. You know this one. Then take that band and stretch it wall to wall. If your band's not this long, then don't worry about it. I just like the way it kind of looks. From here, practice rocking back and forward. So we're like in a triangle. You know, reverse and triangle. Again, I'm just using the band as like a visual so that you can see that I'm keeping the chest and the shoulders equanimity, equally open. Do this 2 or 3 times. Remember, I'm keeping my shoulder blades together. The band is trying to get my shoulder and my chest to collapse and crunch, but I want to do the opposite, especially in yoga. Then come up, revolve the upper body, that lifts your back heel, and then same thing, tip forward, tip back. This should be a really difficult thing to do. Be careful. So all of those interweaving fascial webs are really having to get an education on how to move. I'm like falling all over the place here. Two. And 1. Let's come up, back to the front. Lift that other knee. Step back, spin the chest open. So it's like we're preparing for triangle. You know this one. Hips and shoulders square, tip forward and back. So this is a really complicated movement practice. What we're doing here, going in and out of triangle. Triangle is one of the most complicated poses there is. Did you know that? Doesn't seem like it, does it? There's a lot more going on here than I'm talking about. We're going to have to work on triangle another time. Remember, all we're really focused on today, though, is opening up and then holding the shoulder blades in so that we can get into the fascia, the deep kind of wisdom layer. After 2, come back up. Now, when you spin the other way, your back heel comes up off the floor. Same thing. You're tipping forward and back. This really should be happening around the hip, but I bet it's not. We're going to work on this another time. That's something to learn around the spine. Three, 2. I'm falling all over the place here, so don't look at me, I guess. And one. Come all the way up. Let's let go of the band. We'll come all the way down. So however you get down to the floor safely, join me in hands and knees. So once you get down to hands and knees, try putting the two blocks on the mat about 3/4 of the way down, so that when we go forward, your thigh bones are going to be on the blocks. If you already think that's too much, then take your blanket and put it over so that it doesn't hurt your thighs. So we're going to put the thighs on top of the blocks. And then the upper body kind of comes down. You're sort of on your elbows. If the blocks are already too much, take them out and just try it with the blanket. From here, try bending one knee, then the other. Now do keep your abdominals strong here. We're not trying to crunch the back. We're trying to get the blocks to sort of dig in. We're trying to get the block to dig in to the thigh muscle, to that quadricep. Bending one, then the other. So this is a really subtle way to dig into the fascia webs on the quadriceps. Maybe just hold the legs down. Maybe try rocking, twisting the leg bones right and left. But hold the abdominals strong. Don't let this be an opportunity to crack the low back. We don't want that. I'm just going to bend both knees and hold, because that really stretches that quadricep, and I kind of like that feeling. Now the block could be further down towards your knees. Maybe try that. See what you think. Or further up towards your hips. Three, two, and one. Come off of this safely. So you definitely have to use your arms to get yourself. We're going to come down to the back and prepare for Shavasana. So come all the way down and hug the knees into the chest. Take your hands to the tops of the knees and roll the knees around in a circle. Inhale. Exhale. And then go the other way with the knees. In your mind, begin to dig in. So move away from being in a yoga practice or anything, and just be a companion, a friend to the self. After two, then move into Shavasana. Slowly make your way all the way down. Find a pose that feels comfortable. Begin to melt everywhere. All of your holdings. All of the tension. And then begin to balance your heart and your mind. So imagine that your heart and your mind are like a seesaw or a scale. For me, the mind is very heavy. So balance the heart and the mind. Sprinkle in more compassion where it's needed so that you are level, you are calm, and you are still. Notice that this takes effort, that the everyday ebb and flow and push and pull and light and dark of the universe requires effort for equanimity. Once the mind and the heart feel balanced, try releasing effort. Try releasing into the expanse around you. Try imagining that the space around you is safe and comfortable, beautiful and full of everything that you need, available by simply breathing. That the environment, the universe that surrounds you can absorb the criticisms, the judgments, the fears, and the doubts, so that your mind can become still again. Gently breathe into your belly so that it stays soft. For another few breaths, nothing is required but stillness. For the next few breaths, there is nothing but equanimity, a perfect balance of everything. As you breathe in the light around you and take it in. Fill it in. Fill in all the little dark, stuck, sorrowful spaces. As you exhale, something is revealed. Breathe in deeply this time. Fill. Keep filling up to the very top. And then let that go with a sigh. Slowly begin to roll to your side. Gently open your eyes. Begin to push up and off the floor. Come back up. Rejoin our hearts and our minds, our hands, and our intentions here in Sukhasana. From here, open your eyes. Inhale, circle it and stretch the arms, maybe up overhead. Exhale, scoop that energy back from the belly, offer it up into the heart, bring it back. I bow to the space of equanimity in you. Namaste.